Beamer's at the what do you call that? The inland outing?
Inland Lumber Producer Council
Yeah.
golf outing.
It's a great course. That's the one with the floating green.
Right. I've never played. Never played that.
Played it once. It's a great course. It's a great town course, all that kind of stuff. How we look it over there, Nick? Are we people coming in? We got 10 people in. We'll wait a little bit longer here. So Greg, you just got back into town over the weekend?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. On the road for a couple of weeks. I'll look forward to hearing what I missed.
Yeah. I'll update you on that. It'll be great. So this is streaming live to our MX channel. It's streaming live to the Lumber channel too, which is my YouTube channel, and streaming live on LinkedIn. So if you're on the Lumber channel, please hit the subscribe button down below and sign up. If you're on the MX YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe. Hey, Craig, how are you doing? Great articles this week I've been seeing you've been putting out. Chris Blath, I hope I'm saying that right, hi from Hong Kong. Hey, Chris, how are you? Please say over where you're from, and we also want to make sure we promote any questions during this. Matt's out today. Greg is coming back from a 2-week hiatus, although he was on the platform and buying and selling on a regular basis. So I'll catch you up a little bit what you missed in 2 weeks, Greg, and kind of what we talked about yesterday. This is the MX channel, part of Materials Exchange. This is episode 15. Think about that, man. 15 weeks in
wow
of episodes. So we're the only digital platform, B2B platform, which is first of all creating transparency in an industry that needs it, matching buyers and sellers, moving the money and moving the goods. So Greg, we kind of chatted yesterday before this, and you had a great point. 8 weeks or 60 days down 66%, right? Somewhere 1,700 and change was the high on CME relative, higher on some cash stuff. High from Chicago, hey Hasid. High from Central Florida. And the low in July was around 555 today. So, during that whole process in 2 weeks, we've really started accelerating, especially on the cash side, Greg. I think there's been some interesting conversation there. Everybody's been telling me about a bounce since 1,700 all the way down to 1,000, and then now that they're waiting for this big bounce that was going to happen. Everybody had to buy. We never really know. Back to your whole thought, you and Matt, what you're saying is this is why you need to have a game plan of when you want to buy, because nobody knows how to pick bottoms and tops. You only do it by accident. We saw Southern Pine really start to take a lot of orders 2 or 3 weeks ago. We saw spruce try to do something last week. The market traded somewhere around 700 mil on 2x4. Who knows where it actually traded on either side of that to quote unquote preferred customers. Everybody thought there was going to be a bounce last week. That never happened and materialized. I went to a couple of retail yards this weekend. Studs are still being sold at $700 or $1,300 to $1,400 a thousand, and they're being bought at about $400 to $600 a thousand. So huge gap between the bid and the ask. Now, are both sides of the chain. Now, arguably, the sellers have a lot less inventory than they had 2 months ago because price is telling us that, right? And I think they were pretty sticky, are still able to get their numbers. So prices sold off. I am seeing a lot of people, multifamily people have been buying. And so, we've sold off hard. I keep going back to when did you do your survey? A month and a half ago.
So we did that survey. I'm going to say, stand by.
Yeah.
I'm going to say we did that survey about posts.
And while you're looking at the survey,
probably?
basically, yeah, about a month ago. And it was a survey that asked, is the market going to bounce here?
We did it 3 weeks ago. Annual lumber bottom. in figuring the next 45 days. So we're 3 weeks into that 45 days.
Yeah.
45% felt that the market was going to bottom between the high 700s and the mid low, and another 37% felt that it was going to be the mid to low 600s. So, you had 82%.
And that's where you said the comment.
82% of respondents now felt that it was going to bounce higher than it is now.
That's what you said in a comment there. That means that I think you say 500 to 600s in play.
I mean, right? Part of what I look at is, if we think about the market having, the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of the market run up was really heavily dominated by, fear and, and to a certain level, there was hoarding. I mean, that's when the market, everything was in the news. And, we're dealing with the hangover of that. The marketplace probably accumulated a lot more inventory than they needed at that point in time. And now we're in inventory liquidation. So the wild card is, at what point does the end user inventory get low enough that they're forced to restock?
Yeah. And what you said too, though, I mean, remember during this whole move up, people were arguably adding to their contracts, which they're still taking in right now. Now, obviously, it's at an index number, but people don't just stop buying. They still get contracts coming on a regular basis, right?
It's interesting. I mean, if we go, we're in episode 15, and I think I can remember, early on, in March, April, we had a discussion about what the expectation was going to be for home centers once we got into the spring, and there was starting to see some signs, but now that's really accelerated. I mean, I'm getting reports now that home center sales now are lower than they were in 2019.
All right, wait a second. Home center sales are lower now.
And I don't know how to quantify how much wood that's pushing back to producers right now. I can't. I don't know how to quantify that because it obviously varies significantly.
It's crazy. I went to 3 different stores, big box stores, over the weekend. Each one $46.05 on 7/16 OSB. 3 weeks in a row, 46.05. It just traded on the platform at like $32 or something a sheet, right? They're still holding their numbers up there. I'm guessing at some point that's going to crack, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think all retail prices are sticky, and they lag on the way up. I mean, it's one of the things that accelerates sales when the market's going up is that there's consumers and buyers are pretty smart, and they know that they know what the market price is, and whether it's a big box store or a retail pro yard that's that's selling well market price, that's going to accelerate their sales impression that they're doing more business than they really are.
No, and you always bring up a good point.
The opposite is obviously happening right now, right?
But you always bring up a good point too. 2 things. One, in some metro areas, there's not too many options, right? I mean, and these yards also provide a lot of engineered other products, right? So it's not just lumber they're providing, right? So they can stay sticky on prices for a lot of reasons, right? Because of the service they're providing.
I think so. I mean, obviously, there's going to be pressure as we move over the next couple of months, and people's inventory costs are going to lower. I mean, we're going to get right. I mean, let's just talk about. Okay, home center business is down substantially. People are not building. They're not. Last year, it was a massive blow up of that business. This hangover of it, both because they did the business, they know that the prices are expensive, and end of COVID, we want to do everything. We want to go away from our house, not stay home.
Yeah,
But home sales and home building is going to stay at a pretty good, a pretty elevated level. So, how
for
does that
sure.
dynamic come into play?
Yeah, no, there's no question. I mean, look, we had a conversation about this too.
Do we have any?
Cost. What's that? What's that, Greg? I was going to say cost of production.
I said, are you getting any questions in?
No, we're going to have some people hopefully throw some questions in a second, but I wanted to ask, what I've seen is people with the lower cost of production, and it just may be because whatever reason, right? There's Ken Pell, 7/16 OSB in Louisville, Kentucky, 42.65. So 42.65 divided by 0.032. So that's $1,332 per thousand. Ken, it just traded in the Southeast at around $1,000 a thousand, which is $32. That's easy math, $32 a piece. And I think that if people had bids on multiple trucks, that they could probably get better than that. So that's starting to break a little bit. Cost of production. So Southern Pines arguably got probably the lowest cost of production. They seem to be the most aggressive out there getting orders. What do you think the cost of production is up to the north of us there now? I mean, that's because that log price moves a little bit. It has a little more of a lag moving up, right? I'd just be guessing if I did it. It used to be in the 350 to 400 range, U.S. based.
I think and Ash, I would be guessing also. That's a real wild card, but it's obviously something that is that's going to be an important determinant over the next 30 to 60 days. So we probably want to do some research and get some input as to where that number really is.
You know what? That's a great one for next week's show. Let's try to get a handle on what the real cost of production is, based on what the actual BC stumpage is with that lag they have, and then it's a little bit different in the East and the West. But yeah, I mean, and so Kirk Miller just said thoughts on higher stumpage rates in BC effective July 1st. As with everything, prices move up and down on stumpage. They're lagging right now and moving up. So we'll try to get a better handle on that. Kirk from.
Well, I guess the interesting thing about that, you think about like mills now, all of the wood that they're cutting was, for the most part, probably things that were harvested in the second quarter. And, with the fires now holding back logging, I mean, maybe that's the wild card. I mean, listen, here's the reality. The market is always, the market is always surprising us because we're always, and I'm saying I'm talking, collectively, we're always kind of product of what happened most recently and what we just saw happen, right?
Yeah.
And the key is what's going to happen. So, I mean, are the wildfires ultimately over the next 30 days going to get to a point where maybe mills log decks run low and there's in their inability, depends on how long that goes. Maybe the real shortage of fiber comes in September, October, and I don't know. I mean, I do think that home center business will recover somewhat in the fall.
Yeah.
Right. Seasonally. So that's a net positive. The other net positive right now is, as we talked about over week 1 through 12, was that there was a lot of multifamily business that was on hold, site work, prep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, for sure.
Now these prices now are back, all making that more practical to move forward. And I think over the last few weeks we've seen a number of projects being consummated, and I think we'll continue to see that over the next time period.
Yeah, no, look, at the feedback I'm getting is people have to start locking down some of this multifamily. I know people looking for reload space now because they want to lock down stuff for September, October, November, right? These aren't people that traditionally did that. So and you had a good point yesterday. We were just chatting. July, August, and September aren't usually the time in a lot of parts of the United States people want to build an inventory because it's the hardest time to keep inventory in the ground in 100-degree humid weather, right?
True.
I
Yep.
mean, it was hard. Craig just had a question. Was there any impact on species and sorting as a result of the kerfuffle in North Carolina over warnings about home builders' use of European wood? Did it cause any buyers to buy less from Europe? Did it cause the mills or dealers to remind builders that they were welcome to use European wood so long as they followed the right design values? Maybe you got better insight on that one, Greg. I didn't. I haven't really. We've kind of. I haven't noticed a difference.
I mean, I think my answer is yes, yes, and yes. I mean, I think that's an ongoing, working things out. I mean, there's a level of education that's going on through the field, with grading agencies, manufacturers, and I think it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That makes sense. Good. Thanks for the question, Craig. We'll see if we can get some more on that. I noticed on the platform, we've been selling about the same amount of euro. There's more people listing it, of course. That brings a perfect next segue into, let's just talk about some different things. Obviously, Southern Pine was trading off. It seems to be there's not a lot of speculation on pine right now. People are just going to mills and giving bids. Spruce, they tried to do what they could to build an order file. 4-inch and 6-inch seems to be done a little bit better. Wides, 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch seem to be the things that mills were looking to move. U.S. species, Matt's kind of the expert on that. I don't know enough about that. And panel products, it seems that's the one where people are trying to get orders. We have noticed on our platform all kinds of end users that usually buy OSB and plywood have been selling it. But here's the crazy thing: we've been getting a lot of bids on it. It has liquidity. So panels still have liquidity more so than lumber does right now. Bill from Sherwood, what are your thoughts on futures continuing to trade at a premium on the back end months compared to cash? Craig, I'll let you take that one.
The lower the market goes, the higher the premium's going to be as you go more towards contango. I mean, that's the market will continue to discount the fact that prices will be higher at some point in the future. And at some point that'll add significant support to the market. One of the things that we haven't had is much basis traded wood in the market. Ashley, you and I go back a long time, to the days where there was hundreds of cars all over the U.S. that were basis traded lumber. That's lumber close to the end users that would free up intermittently and provide a backstop.
Yeah, and those were just our cars. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's a great question, Bill. And hey, if you don't get a chance every morning, shoot Bill. I think it was 4:30. It rang this morning, and I looked, and you had put out your Bill puts out a little market update every day, and he's done it for years. He does a great job. He's consistent on it. It's a good one to look at. I love reading it every day. One thing I want to talk about too, Greg, and you kind of reined me in on this, and it was a good point. Look, it's a hard business, and there's a lot of people out there that have high price inventory because you couldn't help but not have it. So there's a lot of work to get that stuff cleaned up. So any thoughts on that? I mean, it's tough, and hopefully everybody can get out of everything and keep doing stuff.
I mean, it's just, when we think about our industry, and just talking about the bellwether 2x4, the average annual range from high to low over the last 35 years is $135.
Yeah.
A big year, high to low would be like 250. I mean, we've had years where it traded in a $60 or $70 range. That's like not even a big day in terms of the range now. Yeah, September futures are down 200 and hang on, stand by. September futures are down 230 $40 in 1 week. Last Wednesday, September traded at 652. So, volatility, it's been the kind of the buzzword, and volatility has been massive. The lower we go, at some point, I believe the volatility will start to come out. Here's one of the things that's been rattling around in my head is been, what if the market just goes down, pick a number, 500, 600, 500, 400, and then just kind of lays there. And I say laid there, maybe it bounces 20, 30, 40, $50, but I mean, doesn't, you know what I mean? Are we going to get to a period of time, if we look at the last 12 to 18 months and we look at the massive volatility we had, do we go back to having as we look forward, what we'll have is an extended period of very low volatility?
Will that just be transitory then?
Well, no. Isn't everything transitory?
Yeah, unless it affects you, right? No, so
that's just something that's been rattling around in my head, and I'm trying to it's one of the things, Ash, you and I have been talking for a long time about stuff. Is I'm always trying to think about what nobody's thinking about,
right?
And what could be different. I mean, obviously, one of my catchphrases is the market. If you think about what everyone expects, then that's that the market's not going to do that, right?
Yeah,
and our recent survey is a perfect example. We'll probably have to come out with another survey in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, you always say the market always hurts the most amount of people. It does what hurts the most amount of people the most, right? A lot of times.
That's all commodity markets for sure.
Yeah, and what it did this time. Everybody thought it was going to bounce, right? So, somebody LinkedIn user got on late. Will OSB start cracking soon? Well, I mean, it really has. I mean, it was holding at 1,300 and all over, and it seems to be trading about at $1,000 to $1,100 1,000 now, or around $32 a sheet from $42 a sheet. So, late LinkedIn user, it's starting to trade off a little bit now, but again, it's got liquidity. So remember, that's an item too that people can buy and store a lot easier and use a lot easier. But I think it's going to. I don't know where it's going because I'm not smart enough to know that, but I do know it is looking for offers right now, but it's catching bids on that one.
Hey, I got a hard time limit, so I think I need to wrap. I will say is we do have housing starts next Tuesday, so that'll give us some good insight into things for sure.
Yeah. So let's for next Tuesday, let's try to see if we can wrap our heads around where the cost of production is up in Canada, maybe some other areas too, and then we'll look forward to doing that. We'll have Matt back in the house, all refreshed and sunburned, and we'll be ready to go.
We'll have the whole band. We'll have the whole band back together. That's it.
Yeah. So everybody, you can get a hold of Greg Riley at Sitka USA. You can get on mxmaterialsexchange.com or mxlumber.com. Come to our LinkedIn page, Materials Exchange, and we're looking forward to seeing you in episode 16 next week. Matt Lehman and I will be on tomorrow. We'll have to see what Matt's thoughts are on the market. They may be completely different from what we just talked about, but sign on at 12 o'clock Central tomorrow. We'll do it. Greg, thanks for showing up. Great insight. Also, as always, great to have you back, and thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Thanks, Ash. Take care.
Bye.